Okay, let us talk about fractions or rational numbers. So fraction is any number which can be represented in the form a divided by b. Fraction is any number which can be represented as a divided by b, where a is called numerator and b is called the denominator of the fraction. And these numbers, for example, 3 divided by 5 is a fraction, where 3 is the numerator and 5 is the denominator. And any number which can be represented in this fraction form is a rational number. So I'm just writing rational numbers side by side so you can just understand that all fractions are basically rational numbers. Now, there are few very important things about fractions. So the first thing is about fraction, which I would like to highlight, is called equivalent fraction. I would like to explain this equivalent fraction with the help of this simple diagram. Let's say we have a rectangle, another rectangle, and let us say we highlight this rectangle. The one half of this rectangle is highlighted. So if we represent this first rectangle in the form of a fraction, it would be equal to 1 divided by 2. Because there are two equal parts and we have taken the one part out of 2. So 1 out of 2. Similarly, if you look at this rectangle and we highlight 2 of these parts out of 4, so this is equal to 2 divided by 4, 2 parts out of 4 equal parts. But you assume that these both rectangles are of the same size. So you can clearly see that these both represent the same, the half of the rectangle. But we are representing in two different forms. So it means that this fraction and this fraction, although they are represented differently, but they are similar. They represent exactly the same value. And this is true. These two fractions are equivalent. So how we get equivalent fractions? What are equivalent fractions? So here is the answer. So if we have a fraction, let us say a divided by b, and we multiply and divide the fraction, multiply and divide it with 1, we will get the same fraction. Similarly, if we multiply and divide this fraction with 2, we still get the same fraction. So it means if we multiply and divide a fraction by any number, 1, 2, 3, 4, or any even decimal number, 1.5, 1.2, 1.3, if we multiply the numerator and denominator with the same number, we get another fraction which is equivalent to the first fraction. When we multiply this 2 with a, we will get 2a divided by 2b. 2 multiplied by a, 2 multiplied by b. This fraction and this fraction, these both are equivalent. Their value is same. Fractions having same value. So if you look at these two, so basically what is happening here is, if you multiply the numerator of the first fraction 1 by 2, you get 2. And when you multiply the denominator with 2, you get 4. You get this fraction. So it means these two fractions are equivalent. So whenever you multiply a fraction multiply and divide a fraction with the same number, you get the equivalent fraction. So why equivalent fractions are important? Equivalent fractions are important because we sometimes have to simplify the fractions. For example, if you have a fraction like 24 divided by 36, this is a fraction. And this is a very big number. These are very big numbers. If we have to multiply this with numbers, let's say 7 divided by 4, so these numbers will be very big numbers. But if we know that this fraction can be simplified to a fraction with small numbers, then we can easily multiply it with 7 and 4. So how do we simplify the fraction? So before we look into simplification, we must understand another very important concept, which is how to factor a number, how to get the factors of a number. So when we are able to get the factors of a number, then we will be able to simplify the fractions. So this is what I am going to explain next.